Recently, I began to read the Bible through one more time. Each time I read the Bible through, I choose a different translation, and this time I chose to read through the New Living Translation. I recently completed the first 5 books of Moses, and as I was reading through these books, especially the book of Deuteronomy, I came to realize again how important our stories are. As I read those stories, I remembered how they were told to me as a child. As I read those stories, I remembered how they informed me as an adult, and especially when I got to the book of Deuteronomy. The theme of Deuteronomy is remember. To remember means more than to recall. It means to relive. And as we tell these stories, we are living in these stories. And I found it amazing that the very last thing Moses did before he died was write a song. And in that song, Moses recounted God's saving acts in Israel. I'm talking about our personal stories. My wife and I have been blessed with 2 wonderful sons and daughter-in-laws, and recently a grandson named Levi, and we're looking forward to the birth of Eli. And as I anticipate living my life with Eli and Levi, I want to tell them stories. I want to tell them the stories of the Bible. I want to tell them stories that will help shape and inform their lives. But I also want to tell them my story. As I tell them stories, I want to give them my story of how Jesus Christ changed my life. I want to tell them stories of how Jesus formed our family. I want to tell them stories of life in the church, stories that will encourage them to be a part of the church. I want my story, my life story, to be something that will be remembered long after I am gone. I want my life story to reflect the goodness and faithfulness of God. I want my life story to be something that my grandchildren can laugh about and can weep about. I want my life story to be something that as my sons grow older, they can look back and say, Dad taught us this. This is what we've learned about faithfulness to God. As we celebrate holy days, whether it be the season of Christmas or the season of Easter, when we bring our families together, one of the things that we commonly do is share our memories. But let's do more than share memories. Let's relive the faith. Let's teach our children the importance of prayer, of singing, of worship and fellowship with God's people. A few years ago, we were celebrating Holy Communion in our church. And when we celebrate communion, I invite the people of God to the altar as families. And my associate pastor at the time, Roger Nelson, and his wife brought their 5-year-old daughter, Chloe, to the altar. And Roger told me later, as we knelt at the altar with the elements of Holy Communion in our hands, Chloe looked up to me and asked, Daddy, why are we doing this? And Roger said, that gave me the opportunity to explain God's saving grace to my 5-year-old daughter. Let's look for opportunities to tell the story. Let's cause our children and our grandchildren to relive our experiences with God. And let's make sure that our grandchildren do not forget how God has saved us and guided our lives.